Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Camille Moore with Connect, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Body Language Confidential with Traci Brown. Before we get started, we have just a few housekeeping notes on the platform. You can type in questions for Traci in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen or via the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. We'd love for this to be an interactive session, so please send in your questions throughout the webinar. A recorded version of this session will be available on our website on demand, where you can find additional on-demand webinars for any of you needing last-minute credit hours before CMP testing. Yes, you're able to watch our webinars on demand and still receive credits. For everyone joining us live today, this CMP credit was approved for CMP-IS Domain F Stakeholder Management. We will email your certificate of attendance tomorrow evening, so please be on the lookout for that. For any of you future viewers watching this session on demand and not live, please email me directly at cmore@connectmeetings.com to receive your certificate. I'll share more information about our upcoming webinars at the end of the program, but let's go ahead and get started. Before I introduce Traci, you'll notice that there is a map on your screens of some of our upcoming events for the rest of the year. We'd love for you guys to come out and participate, so if you have any questions about attending, you can contact my colleague, Kristen Francis, who is our Senior Director of Sales, and I'll go ahead and type in her email address for everyone. So if you have any questions, you can send those to her email address. Now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Traci Brown. It's a crazy world out there. Creating the things you want to happen is more challenging than it's ever been. You've got to do everything you can to get what you want. Traci Brown travels the world teaching corporations and associations how to build their bottom line through strategic use of body language. She's a frequent guest on TV news shows, interpreting the body language of criminals and politicians, and many times both labels describe the same person. She even trains lawyers how to pick and persuade a jury using body language. Her new book, How to Detect Lies, Fraud, and Identity Theft, is hot off the presses. Today, she's going to share with us exactly how to uncover secrets hidden in plain sight. Hold on to your hats and be ready to take lots of notes. We're in for some fun. Take it away, Traci.
Hey, thanks, Camille. Thanks for all the extra effort. I know we're experiencing a technological miracle that we got this off the ground. So thanks everybody for hanging in with us, and to Camille for all the extra effort. So I'm just going to set some expectations here. I am a keynote speaker. That's what I do. And so what I've done, my best here, is to give you one of my keynotes in a webinar format. So hopefully we're going to have some fun and get you all engaged and keep you on your toes a little bit. And and I will tell you, we're going to have fun, and we're going to talk about practical use of body language, how to use it to persuade and influence, and no more than is immediately obvious. And so you can leave here, close your computer, and go out and use it in your next meetings. And so if you want a big bunch of science with statistics and all that kind of stuff, that's not this. We're going to have some fun, and you're going to walk out knowing what to do. So given that, let's talk about job number one. Well, I will tell you, I've noticed a trend lately. I've noticed a trend in my life, it's a new trend, and it goes something like this. Whenever I go to a party, networking event, or any kind of meeting, eventually someone will ask me, they'll say, "Hey, Trace, what do you do for work?" And I go, "Well, I'm a body language expert." And right then I get the same response from just about all of them, as they cross their arms really tight like this, and they take they get a stressed look on their face. They take about a half step back and they go, "How's my body language?" And so that's when I want to have a little bit of fun. So I go, "Oh, it's fine, but watch yourself, because I know about you." And so most of us have the idea that body language can indicate what's going on in someone's mind. few of us take the time to study it, and fewer than that take the time to learn how to be very strategic with it so you can indeed persuade and influence no more than is immediately obvious, and definitely detect deception. And so the first thing that you got to be able to do is to pay attention differently. People are screaming at you all the time what's going on in their mind, and you're just not paying attention. And I learned this the hard way. I used to be a bike racer, Tour de France style, bike racing, and I. Sorry, these comments are distracting me. I'm going to close this box here. All right. And so I grew up in Dallas, racing along with this guy. You probably heard of him. His name's Lance. Yeah, Lance Armstrong. And I learned quickly that I couldn't just rely on my strength to keep up. I had to know more than was immediately obvious. I had to look for tiny things like the drop of a shoulder or the waggle in someone's hips just to understand what was going to happen next, because I just wasn't getting it done on my own. And eventually over time, what I was able to do is start to keep notes on my competition. And I understood their patterns, and I understood from their each unique patterns what each individual person was going to do next. And when I could get the jump on people, that's when I would start it. That's when I would start to win. And so this whole idea of paying attention got hammered home when I came here to the University of Colorado. Because you got to live in Colorado to be a great bike racer. At least that's what I thought. I think it's mostly true for a lot of people. And I had this coach when I got to town. I met him, and his name was Wally. And he's this big cowboy guy, really tall guy. And he was the kind of guy that would take us out, put us through the hardest workout we could possibly stand, put you in the car, take you home, cook you a hand-cut thick bacon sandwich like it was good for you. And he'd always say, Trace, you got to pay attention or you pay with pain. And my current pain is not being able to advance these slides. So Camille, we need to advance the slide. Yeah, there you go. I need to figure out how to do this myself. So
where the screen share button is, Tracy, the previous and next buttons should be right above that.
Yeah, I don't have those.
Right?
Oh, here we go. Okay, got it. Okay, so point is, my pain right there was just not being able to advance the slides by seeing the little note on the screen. But what's the pain in your business of not paying attention? Is it not getting the contract that you wanted? Is it not really understanding your client's full needs that don't necessarily always come out of their mouth? Is it having a miscommunication with someone who you thought things were very clear with? And maybe even hiring the wrong employee. Some of you do hiring, and man, hiring the wrong one is really expensive. And those are just a few examples. What's the pain at home of not paying attention, right? Maybe not being able to keep your kids out of trouble, right? When they tell you, no, they're not going out tonight, or they're just going over to Jimmy's house. They're going to stay there all night, right? And then they're roaming around the house or the neighborhood. So all these things are things that you can start to pay attention to differently to get the right message, the true message. Because here's the thing, the body can't lie. The body always tells the truth. You need to pay attention to that first. Take the words with a grain of salt. And so I thought it'd be fun if we just jumped in and really engaged you all and played my game. It's not ready for prime time. Body language blitz. So what you're going to do is demonstrate your knowledge of body language in front of everyone. Well, not in front of everyone. You're at least going to type it into the box so that you can register your answers. You're going to want to keep track of your answers because there is going to be a chance to win a fabulous prize at the end. Okay, so here's the deal. I had to close my chat box because it was distracting me and I want to pay attention to what I'm saying and the camera and the whole thing. So Camille, I'm going to lean on you hard. She's going to give us the trends for the answers. Okay. But I thought it would be really good if we just had a practice question, just so we could see how it goes. Okay. So Camille, are you ready?
Yep, I am ready.
Okay, cool. So first practice question, I'm going to show you some pictures. Here we go. So just notice who's here. Who is here? We have who? Honey Boo Boo. Who else? Homer Simpson, the Kardashians, and the guys from Duck Dynasty. Okay, so take a look at their body language. And the question is, according to Camille, our lovely host for today, the new mascot for Connect meetings should be A, the Kardashians, B, Homer Simpson, C, Honey Boo Boo, or D, the guys from Duck Dynasty. What's on Camille's mind? Let's see it. What are we seeing, Camille?
We have some C's coming in, and let's see what else everyone else is thinking the mascot should be.
Yeah, type it in. Come on, y'all.
Yeah, okay. Someone said we got B's.
Okay.
Loves Homer. Lots of B's coming in. A, B, B. Seeing like
All right.
B is the winner. We got some
Very
B's.
good. All right. So B is what the audience says. But Camille, what's on your mind?
I'm going to go with the audience. I'm going to go with B, Homer Simpson.
Oh, you're going with B. All right. So here's the deal. If you, this does not count. Do not give yourselves any points. Future questions are going to be more scientifically based. We're not always going to just guess what Camille's thinking. And so this just gives us an idea of how this all flows and how you can start to interact and see what other people are answering out there. So here's the deal. These next questions, you're going to want to start to keep your score. This one didn't count. And so anyway, let's just jump right in. So first real question, remember to keep your score. Just what I want you to do is think about the handshakes that you've gotten in the last week. Like, whose hand have you shook and what did it feel like? Right? Because everyone's probably shook someone's hand at a meeting in the last week or so. So just notice, what did it feel like? Was it too hard, too soft? Just take a minute and think about it. And then we're going to answer this question. Here we go. What's the best way to shake hands? What's the best way to shake hands? Answers could be we have any answers? Uh-oh, have we lost Camille? Oh, we lost sound. Oh, can you hear me? All right. If you can hear me, someone type in the chat box. That would be, you can. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Cool. All right. So it looks like, let's see, a lot of people are saying D's. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. We're chugging through the technical difficulties together, so thanks for working with us on that. So I'm going to say the trend is D. And let's talk about that for a minute. Actually, let's find out what the answer is. Let's find out what the answer is first. Let me forward this. Here we go. The answer is A or D. If you gave yourself A or D, give yourself a point. And let's talk about this. So mostly what we want to do with business in the States, and I think most of you are probably doing business in the States, is to shake people's hands so it's about perpendicular to the ground and about the same grip. And so that just says, hey, we want to play on even terms. We're going to make this a win-win. Now, there are times that getting a handshake can give you information in the first few seconds that you meet someone about their deep unconscious set point. And getting an even shake is a great way to say, hey, you know what? They're here for a win-win. Sometimes you may need to give a shake depending on the situation, where you shake their hand and turn your palm down, right? And that says that you are in control, right? And that you need to be in control. And that can be very unconsciously comforting to your clients, because you know what? They're hiring you because you need to be in control. Now, you may need to overpower someone at some time or another and let them know that, hey, you have to be in control. And a palm down shake is a great way to do that. And so A or D can both be really good. Remember, you don't want to always put absolutes on your body language interpretation. There's always a situational factor at play. And so you want to make sure that you're considering everything around you when you're making a determination. Now, if you've ever gotten a shake where people shake your hand and turn their palm up, right, thereby turning your palm down, they're putting you in the power position, okay? So they want to be warm, welcoming, hospitality minded, and guess what? They're going to say yes to anything that you want, just about. So you need to make sure that you use that information with a good deal of karma. I'm not the karma police, but you're going to hear yes from them quite a bit. Now, if someone gives you, let's say, a fist bump, what do? Just be cool, fist bump them back. Just be cool. Now, ladies, because there's probably, I'm going to guess, mostly ladies on this call. Dead fish handshake. You ever got one of those, or maybe accidentally given one of those? Yeah, dead fish, where there's no grip strength to it, and it's just kind of like a dead fish. Ladies, we're prone to giving dead fish handshakes because we, as a gender, it's only been socially acceptable to shake hands since the early 80s, and we're just not very good at it. And so what you're going to do is coach your sister friends when you're getting a handshake that says, wow, powerless, without any backbone, doesn't really have an opinion about anything. You want to make sure that you're letting people know that they're giving a handshake like that and not giving one yourself. So now there's one exception to that, and that is when we, if you ever deal with people straight from Asia, or if you're doing business in Asia, because there's a lot of meetings over there, like Singapore, all over in that area, giving a firm handshake over there is considered rude. So make sure there's a little cultural leeway that you give people. So if you have questions, type it in, and I'm going to keep going to the next one, and we can jump back to these if we need to. Okay, so next up, just notice who is here. Who's here? I will help you. It's Michelle Obama and a soldier who is giving her some forms at Bethesda Naval Hospital. So just take a look at her body language. And the question is, what do Michelle's crossed arms say? A, she's cold. B, she's comparing to what she knows. C, she's closed. Or D, she doesn't want to pay that medical bill. Type in your answers. What do her crossed arms mean? Go. Uh-oh, I hope we have people.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we do. Okay. Oh, cool. Okay, good. All right, keep them coming, y'all. You're doing great.
We have a C. B's. A lot of people are saying B's, Tracy. Got some C's.
Okay. I like it. I like it. So let's see. I'm going to give 2 more seconds here. Type in your answers. B's.
Another B.
All right. And the answer is A, B, or C is right. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Woo. All right. Okay. I'm good. I'm back online. So, Now, here's the thing. Remember, we said that body language can indicate a lot of different things. When you get really specific on the X always means Y, like a certain movement always means a certain thing, you're gonna get a lot of false readings, okay? So what you want to do is put together a list of possibilities of what a certain movement could possibly mean, okay? And then it'll give you an idea of what's on someone's mind, maybe not exactly why. So here's the deal. Because the whole thing that we hear about people crossing their arms is that, oh, they're closed, right? And they're putting a barrier between you and them. And yeah, that's true. But the science proves something a little bit different. Thanks for blessing me. Is it Lucianne? Thank you. The science says something a little bit different. It says that at first, when people cross their arms, they're actually comparing what you're presenting to what they know, and what they know is different. The risk is if you leave them there, the neurons take just a little bit to catch up to actually make them neurologically closed, neurologically and mentally closed. So what that means is that you need to understand, okay, people are questioning you. They're not closed yet, but they're about to be. So you got to handle it, okay? And here's what you do. You either keep drinks in your office, right? Or nearby, water, Cokes, or something stronger, coffee, maybe even stronger than coffee. And what'll happen is when you give people something, you've activated the law of reciprocity, which says I give you something, you give me something, okay? And you've also physically forced their arms open. Now, I have clients that do this. They have branded hot sauce with chips, and they wait until they're in a meeting to take these out when things are starting to get a little more tense, okay? So anything you can do to get people to open up their arms is going to benefit you in any kind of negotiation situation, because you want people open and comfortable and receptive to you and your message, and neurologically creating that by changing their physical posture is really going to be an easy way to do that. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in, and I am going to keep going. Okay. Let's see. Okay, who is here? Who do we see here? Got an idea? Sports fans out there, we got in the pink shirt, we got Tim Tebow, and then we have Lance Armstrong. Actually, I think I told you I grew up with Lance. And notice their body language. Notice their body language. And the question is, here we go. Here's the question. What do Tim and Lance's upturned palms mean? A, they don't care. B, they're telling the truth. C, they're telling their truth. Or D, they're checking to see if it's raining. Type them in. Let's see what you got. A, B, C, or D. I'm not seeing anything yet. I think there's a delay on these chat box things. Yeah, here we go. We got some C's. Ooh, we got a lot of C's.
Lots of C's.
Lots of C's. I think we're straight C's, don't you think, Camille?
I think so too.
Yeah. All right. And so survey says the answer is C. If you gave yourself C, give yourself a point. Now, let's talk about this. When people show you their palms, it can look like this or it can look like this. It's going to happen really fast, and you need to pay attention to that because they're telling you their truth. Now, their truth might not be the truth, but their truth is the truth they're operating under, okay? So let's talk about Tim Tebow. He was at University of Florida, like really good quarterback, came to Denver here. That's where I'm near Denver. And he, I think he went to the Jets, like pretty good quarterback. And then all of a sudden he was free agent, right? Free agent, that's code for unemployed. And so he he had some free time, so he took up preaching. He's a missionary kind of guy, which works really great for him. But to him, Jesus is the way. It may be your way, it may not be your way, but it would be helpful if you just accepted that you're not going to change his mind about that Jesus is the way anytime you go into any kind of negotiation with Tim. Just go with it. You don't have to believe it yourself, but just act as if it's true. Now, Lance's truth Lance's truth has changed, hadn't it? Because for a long time he had never touched those performance enhancing drugs. He took, because he's a bike racer, and he took great care to destroy people's careers the best he could who came out voicing opposition to what he was saying. And lately he's backtracked on that statement. It only took him 15 years of pro racing, 15 years of retirement almost to do that. So, but for the longest time, you had to believe his truth. You had to work with it. So people will tell you this when they're talking about their budgets, when they're talking about their likes, when they're talking about their dislikes. Believe that first, okay? Believe always what the body says first. You may need to dig a little bit deeper and just go, you know what? Why don't you tell me a little bit more about your budget, or a little bit more about this proposal? I see that maybe I missed something in here. Go ahead and tell me more so I can fix it and make sure that it's something that is really going to be a win for you. So if you got questions on that, again, go ahead, type them in, and let's keep going. Okay, this is a good one. To enhance connection in any kind of meeting, how should you use your body language? Okay, the choices are to enhance connection, how should you use your body language during a meeting? A, matching, which means doing what they do. Or B, mirroring, doing the opposite of what they do, right? And C, don't worry about it, your body language is perfect. Or D, A or B, depending on the situation. What do you think the answer is? We got some D's. No one's going to think they're perfect out there?
Got some A's and D's coming in.
We got some D's.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a look at it. The survey says the answer is D. You should either match or mirror your client depending on the situation. So usually I will do a demo with people during my keynotes. We can't do that, so I have a couple pictures for you. And we're going to talk about some of the differences. So matching and mirroring creates deep unconscious rapport. So what happens is when we do about the same thing that other people are physically doing, we are lighting up our mirror neurons, and it makes us feel good. And guess what? People say yes to people who make us feel good. They give discounts to people who make us feel good. They're going to reach down inside and go, man, she's just like me. And they're not going to know why they feel that way. So matching and mirroring, let's talk about mirroring. So this is Bush and Putin. Man, Putin's been around for a long time. Hadn't he causing his trouble? And just notice how if Bush and Putin were facing each other in this picture, they would be mirroring. They would look like they're in a mirror towards each other, okay? And opposed to that is matching, okay? And this is when you're looking like a non-mirror. It looks like some of our text got cut off there. A non-mirror image, okay? So you see how they look like they're doing the opposite thing? Where you want to be most of the time is right here in matching, okay? The reason being is mirroring for people who are really sensitive to their feelings. People who are really sensitive to their feelings, they can feel such a deep connection to you that they can get weirded out, and actually the whole thing backfires. So matching is a lot more of an easy connection, a lot more gentle, and it's not as intense. And so you really want to start to learn to just match people. You're playing a sophisticated game of adult copycat. So practice this. And I know everybody's remote here, but when you're in your next conversation, just kind of do what the other person does. Cross your legs so it looks like you're crossing your legs the opposite way. Whenever they scratch their face, maybe like that, you just wait 5 or 10 seconds and scratch your face, right? And notice how the conversation goes, because you will find that it goes a lot more smoothly and a lot more differently. So you can have a little bit of fun with that. Do we have any questions? Any questions? Do you think you can actually pull it off? Nobody in the chat box thinks they can pull it off. Maybe you have a question about it. Maybe you've heard about it, but never really used it. Maybe no one's, oh, sure, Jackie. All right, Jackie, we Browns got to stick together. Okay. So got to make sure people are out there. So yeah, it is hard to remember. So here's the deal. You got to practice. And what I would suggest you do is just get a friend, get a husband, a wife, a whoever, and say, hey, can I just practice something with you? And here's the exercise. Here's how it goes. Because remember, the goal is to make people feel great. That is exactly what you have to do. You can do it with your body language by just gently matching them. And here's the exercise. And you can write this down or take a screenshot or whatever you do. Let me do this. Okay. So the exercise is this. Get a buddy and just talk to them. And this is a 3-minute exercise. Okay. Tell them about how you got to work this morning, or what you did last Christmas, or where your next vacation is, whatever it is. Face them using about a 45-degree angle, okay? Because if you face people square on, somewhere in them and somewhere in you, you're creating deep unconscious conflict, okay? So if you just do your shoulders about 45 degrees, you'll see that you can still face them, still give them your full attention, but it opens up some leverage in the interaction, so that you take that intensity away. So it almost gives people a way out. So 45 degrees, use matching, just tell a story. Okay, one of you is going to be A, the other one's going to be B. Let's say you're going to be A to start. Just tell a story, doesn't matter what it is. And then B is going to just sort of do what you do, okay? And then you're going to switch. You can be B first, doesn't matter. And yes, it is hard to do at first, but I guarantee you, if you do this exercise 3 times, 3 minutes, 3 times, you will be able to listen to people and watch them at a whole different level. I didn't tell you it was easy to do. Told you it was worth doing. I mean, you could even, with some people on here, if you got together, you could even do it because everybody knows the rules. Do it on a video chat, like on a Zoom call or something like that, where you just kind of, if someone leans forward, you just wait a little bit, and then you lean forward, right? Or if they lean back, you just wait a little bit and lean back, right? So you can do it with crossing and uncrossing your legs. You can really up the ante and start to match their speech patterns and use some of their words. So remember, this is all in the name of getting them to say yes to you and connecting, right? Because people like them, people love people like them. So you can play with that, and I highly, highly suggest that you do that. So if there's any more questions, go ahead, type them in. And I am going to keep going. Okay. Here we have the infamous Tiger Woods. He is in his press conference about all his indiscretions. And there was only, 120 of them? So he's in his press conference. And let's see. Take a look at his body language. The question is, what does Tiger's body language say? A, he's sad about getting caught. B, he's sad he slept around. C, he lost his golf ball trying to find it. Or D, he's thinking about how he's going to explain himself. Go ahead, type in your answers. Let's see.
We have a lot of D's coming in. I think everyone's thinking that.
Everyone's going D? Okay, cool. I did see while you're typing it in, we're going to answer a question after this about gender. So keep going in. Some people didn't catch the photo. Okay, there's the photo for you. And let's see. The question is, just as a reminder, y'all are doing good. What is Tiger Woods' body language saying? And the answer is, survey says A or B. If you gave yourself A or B, give yourself a point. Now, let's talk about this. This is super important, okay? So, body language tells you what's on someone's mind. It doesn't tell you why, okay? So, we don't know. Well, we know that when people look down, and he looked down most of the time in his interview or in his press conference, when you look down, you're getting into negative emotions, okay? Down here is negative emotions. Up here is positive emotions generally, okay? So, for example, you never see someone, you never see this, if they, you ask them, how's work or how was that project? They never go, great. Like, if you see the mismatch, it totally doesn't work. So really what you got to do is you can use this to your advantage, because you all have a lot of paperwork, you have a lot of contracts, you have a lot of details that go into your events and making them run just right. If you walk into any meeting and the first thing you do is put your nice fancy proposal and your advertising stuff down in front of your client and slide it across the table to them, what are you making them do? You're making them do that. And that is going to kill you, because what's happening is you are needlessly, right, and maybe unconsciously putting them in all the negativity that they may have about you and about this event, okay? And so what you want to do is keep them looking up as long as you can. And that may mean, it could mean a lot of things, but for sure, don't just start handing them papers when you meet them, because that's going to kill you. What you want to do is keep them looking up. And what I do, what I tell folks is, if you can, have a screen, have an iPad, have something at least just slightly above eye level that's going to show them the important points of what you're trying to describe. Is there some expense in this? Could be, but what is the cost of not getting the deal, right? Or having the deal go wrong, or not getting the price point that you need to make it really a win. So keep them looking up as long as you can. Only have them look down at your information. Wait till the last minute to do that. So questions on that? Everyone feeling good? Type them in if you have it. Someone asked a question before. I thought there was a question about gender with the matching, and so I'm going to address that. Is there a difference? No, there's not a difference in matching and marrying for genders. The only thing that I've really read that seemed to be really valuable about the difference in genders is that when you're talking to people, guys tend to like to be more side by side, and women will tilt toward each other a little more. Okay, so if you're sitting next to a gentleman, you can just open that up a little bit, open your angle, and ladies, we're going to be okay with it closer together. Albeit, remember that 45-degree angle, because here's the problem in telling you that some groups are made up of women and men, and I don't want you thinking too much. I want you just to be able to go in with a plan, get used to it. So it's just a habit. So it's not anything you have to think about doing. It's just the way you roll. And if you just stick to that 45-degree angle of address with anyone you meet, it's going to be a win. So that's my comment on that. Okay, let's keep going because we have a couple, three more questions here. Okay, who's here? We have the Obamas. And we have Kate. And please know, y'all, here's the deal. We're looking at some people that are political. I do not care who you vote for. Totally don't care. These are just people with pictures that you've seen on TV. Okay, that's all. So, but take a look. Notice what they're doing. And y'all know the Duchess Kate, right? So we got the Obamas and we got Kate. And check out their body language. The question is, who's the most comfortable in these pics? A, Barack, B, Michelle, C, Kate. All right, type in your answers. Let's see what you got. Ooh, we got some A's. We got some, let's see, couple A's. Who's the most comfortable? Come on, couple more answers here. C, C, A. All right, we got A's and C's. We got A's. All right, and the answer is, survey says, the answer is A. If you gave yourself A, give yourself a point. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. So, when people are in the fig leaf position, they're covering up their private parts, and we see that from Kate and Michelle. They're not comfortable. There's something that's bothering them, okay? It is really hard to stand in a situation, really in any situation, just with your hands at your side. Now, just think about what could be going on in these pictures. Like, why would Michelle and Kate be maybe uncomfortable? Well, there's probably a, from our perspective, 50 to 100 photographers probably yelling their name. And do you think that that would make you like a little bit uncomfortable? Yeah, absolutely it would. And so what you got to understand is when you see that, that's a sign, right? That's a sign that you can make someone's day. And Audrey said, yeah, I see this a lot. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Don't you love it when you get the robocalls? That's only who calls me on that line. So you can make someone's day, right? And I had someone take me to task on this. And they said, oh, guys never do that. You never see guys do that. And I'm like, oh, yeah? You ever take a guy to a wedding and his wife is a bridesmaid? Or sorry, or matron, whatever they call it. His wife's in the wedding party. And what's he doing? He's standing back against the wall, surveying the situation with his hands folded neatly in front of him. Right. And so that's when he doesn't want to be there. He's uncomfortable. He doesn't know everybody. And he's waiting for someone or some situation to make him comfortable. So what do you do when you see that? Well, for one, go talk to him, because you all go to a lot of meetings and not everyone has the same level of excitement to be there. Now, if it's someone you want to connect with, it's easy to fix, because remember, you can force people out of an uncomfortable or out of a negative mindset just by changing their body language. So you want to hand them a plate of food, hand them a drink, or just go talk to them and say hi. And that can really be the tipping point that says, you know what, that planner at the meeting, she was just fantastic, right? Because you just made them feel good. Okay, so it's a huge sign, easy win for you, especially at your events. So questions on that, go ahead and type them in, and we're going to keep going. Who's here? We have Blake and Miranda, Blake Shelton, Miranda Lambert, country singers. Remember when they were together? I thought they were so cute. But they're at the Grammys and they're sitting next to Lady Gaga. Okay, so what I want you to notice is, see the gap between Miranda Lambert and Lady Gaga? And so basically, scoot half your butt off your chair. That's how far she's getting away from her seatmate there. And so let's see what the question is. Here we go. The body language in this picture means, let's see, Miranda Lambert wishes she had some face net too. Lady Gaga is jealous that she didn't win an award. Blake Shelton is planning a surprise attack, or Miranda would run if she could. Type in your answers. Let's see what you got.
All right, we have a B that's coming in.
You got a B. Audrey's on the ball. Yeah. Come on, y'all. What else you got? A lot of D's. A lot of D's. All right. So let's see. The survey says the answer is D. If you gave yourself D, give yourself a point. Now, let's talk about this. If people are scooting away from you, you're doing something wrong. Okay, you got to figure out what it is and stop it. You are making them uncomfortable. So the list of things that could be wrong in here could be Lady Gaga's face net or look of death. Or it could be, if you look far to the left of the picture, do you see how Lady Gaga has a scepter? Yeah, a scepter. We don't use scepters a lot anymore. And so, they're kind of reserved for evil witches and queens in Disney movies. If you, the take-home message here, one of them is if you're home, you're getting ready for your best event of the year, and you look in the corner and you go, wow, should I bring my scepter? The answer is no. Leave your scepter at home. And how can you use this? Let's talk about how you can use this. If people are scooting away from you, you're doing something wrong. You may see them scoot away from your proposal or scoot away from your idea. And when I say scoot, I mean they could roll their chair back. They could just take a half step back. Okay. And that's important information to have because they're distancing themselves from a problem. Okay. You may also see this where they just close their eyes for just a little too long, like their blink just slows down to 3, and then they'll start to talk. That is someone who is not liking what's in front of them. So you need, if you let that go, you've missed the moment that you can actually solve their problem. You can read their mind and you go, here's what you say. You go, it seems like something about this is bothering you. Why don't you just let me know what it is and I'll do my best to fix it. And oftentimes just that question, you'll see the relief come over them because maybe they don't know how to tell you exactly what's wrong on their own volition. So you open up the possibilities for a discussion so you can lead it to a successful resolution. So if you got questions on that, keep them coming. And we have 2 more questions, and I think we'll wrap her up. So let's see who's here? Who do we see here? We see The Situation from Jersey Shore. You watch it or watched it. And we have Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. So check out their body language. Check out their tented fingers. And the question is, here we go. Mr. Burns and The Situation's tented fingers indicate A, they are sinister and up to no good. B, they're going camping and describing their tent. C, they have ultimate confidence. Or D, none of the above. Type them in. Let's see what you got. What do y'all think?
Oh, we got an A that just came in.
All right, we got an A. What else do we got? We got some A's. All right. Couple more. I'm going to wait another couple seconds, and then we're going to keep going. Oh, we got a C. Okay. All right. Yeah, there's for sure a delay on this. That's okay. We're making it happen. And so let's see. Survey says the answer is C. The answer is C. If you gave yourself C, give yourself a point. Now, let's talk about this. And go ahead, whatever's in your hands right now, just go ahead and and tense your fingers just like this. Just put the pads of your fingers together. Some people call this a power triangle. I call it just tensing your fingers. And actually, this will show ultimate confidence and create ultimate confidence inside of you. Remember, because where the body goes, the mind's going to follow. So just do this, put down your pen, whatever you're going to do. And I'm going to talk to you about it. Now, Mr. Burns actually taps his fingers like this slowly, and that says negative expectation. Okay. Now, if you just hold them still, that says ultimate confidence, but it can actually build confidence inside of you. And I did, well, a couple years ago, I had an opportunity to pitch to some of the sharks from the TV show Shark Tank. And I got to tell you, I was shaking. I was shaking beforehand, not an effective way to go out there and pitch. And I decided to take control of myself. And so I did some deep breathing. And I got to tell you, that was ridiculous because it didn't work at all. And then I went, wait a minute, I'm an expert in this. And so I did my fingers like this just for literally a minute. And I felt all that stress and all that tension just drain out of my body. I went out there and nailed it, and I got a deal because I took control of the situation. So go ahead and type this in the box. How many of you are feeling a little more centered, a little more grounded, and a little more confident just from doing this through the time that I've been explaining the situation here? I hope some of you have. And we'll see what comes in the text box here. But just know that this will not work if you don't use it. It looks elegant in any situation. All right, Jackie Brown's in. Love you, Jackie Brown. And you can do this in an elevator. You can do this while you're on a call. And yeah, it can be natural from time to time. But remember, we're taking what's unconscious and making it a conscious thing that you do to build confidence. So before a date, before even a date with your husband, before anything that you're about to do, you can always use more confidence for. This is the keys to the Ferrari right here. It's super powerful. Is there ever a time that it comes across as intimidating? Yes, I've used it to intimidate people on purpose before. And I'm going off script here, but I'm going to tell you a little story. So I told this to my husband, and we were going to buy a car. He wanted a Subaru Outback, and he's the kind of guy, he does not go to the dealer until he knows exactly what car he wants and exactly the whole thing, everything he wants, and he knows that they have it in stock. So we got this guy, and he was young to be our sales guy. And I was like, all right, this is going to be great. And I knew that we could intimidate this guy into a really good deal. Please don't judge me. I'm just telling you the truth. And so I told my husband when it came time, because the guy was doing the old school put a number on a piece of paper, slide it across the table. And like, it was very me versus you when it came time for negotiation. And so I told my husband, I said, here's the deal. When you get to the number that you want and you slide your number across, and that's your final number, you let me know and then do exactly what I do. So he told me, we slid the number across, and then I tented my fingers like this, and we both sat forward, put our elbows on his desk, just like this. And we saw him on the other side go like, oh no, be careful. This is just a screen. It's not my normal thing. And we saw him kind of recoil. And I was like, all right, we got this guy exactly where we need him to get this deal done the way he feels that he needs to get this done. Because you don't just start sliding numbers across the table if you're not in for a win-win. So that's really the only time I've used it to intimidate someone. And you got to understand, I'm 5'9", my husband's 6 feet tall, and this guy was small, and he was young, and I knew that it would work. So, so yeah, you can have a little bit of fun with that. And I'm happy to fill you in on more details on how to get the best price of a car if you want to call me later. So, okay, last question, then we're going to wrap this puppy up. Okay, here we go. Who's here? Who's here? I'll tell you just real quick. It's Selfie Gate. You remember Selfie Gate from Mandela's funeral? Hang on, Jackie. I'll get to that question in a bit. The Selfie Gate from Mandela's funeral. So they're at a funeral, Nelson Mandela, and you see a group here pictured together, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and one person's acting really differently. Okay, one person's acting really differently. And so that happens to be Michelle. She's on the right. We got the Danish prime minister, the blonde lady there, and we got the British prime minister who is leaning in. So here we go. The question is, the body language in this picture says, A, the British and Danish prime ministers are working on improving U.S. relations. B, Barack likes blondes. Or C, Barack is going to hear about this later. Type in your answers. Let's see what you think. Okay, we got a C. Barack is going to hear about this later. Come on, who else? What do we got? We got A's. Okay, so we're mixed. We're mixed so far. All right, we got A's taking over, but let's see. The answer is A, B, and C are right. If you answered anything at all, give yourself a point. Let's talk about how this all comes together. So when you're dealing with a group, and I know that you all deal with groups all the time, if one person is acting really differently than the rest of the group, you got to find out what's on their mind, because they could be the one bad apple that spoils the bunch. Okay, so let's see. Let's enlarge this a little bit. So notice how Michelle is not in with the party. Okay, now they're at a funeral. Is she thinking, wait a minute, the American people are not going to like this. In America, funerals are sad. And in South Africa, funerals are a big party. So is the bunch here getting with the groove of the situation? We don't know. Okay, or is she thinking, that blonde lady is cozying up to my husband a little too much? Okay, we don't know. But she doesn't approve. No, she doesn't. But remember, we don't know why. We don't know why. So you know she doesn't approve. But when you see this from your groups, you got to ask that person, hey, something's on your mind that's bothering you. I need to know what it is so I can fix it. Okay. And so let's see. Let's scroll through these pictures and see how it goes here. Let's see. It starts out like that. Michelle is not having any of it, but boy, Barack is cozying up there to the Danish prime minister. And then let's see, it goes to something like this. Oh no. Now I think, is that where she's got her tongue sticking out a little bit? That's anger. You don't want that happening. What's going to happen next to you? Let's see. Oh no. If looks could kill, this is what it would look like. And just remember, yeah, there's distance, you bet. Let's see, just now notice what's happening here. She said something, right? She's rolling up her sleeves, ready for a fight. Barack has gone from comparing to closed. And you see the Danish prime minister, she's leaning back, and we know people don't like what they're leaning away from, but you see the whites of her eyes, like they're big. That says fear. Okay, so just know when your wife says switch seats, you switch seats. So you're going to have a little bit of fun with this, and just know it's all in the body language. If you had just read the situation from the start, you wouldn't end up as a meme. So I do have to wrap this up here. So go ahead and total up your points, and here's how you can win. Okay, if you got all of them right, you can email me, and the first person to email me that says they got all of them right, I'm just going to trust you, will get a copy of my book, How to Detect Lies, Fraud, and Identity Theft. I will mail it to you, and you have to give me your address. Okay, that's all. It's free. It'll be in the mail. And so go ahead. Oh, my email. My email is Traci, Traci, at tracibrown.com. So it's Traci at tracibrown.com. And yeah, there you go. Thanks, Camille. And so, yeah, go ahead and email me. I'm going to look at the timestamps and you should be good. Now, if you want to know more, find me on Facebook, please. Find me on Facebook, and it's Body Language Speaker. That's me on Facebook. We'll talk about things that are more divisive than what we can really talk about and have connect, be happy with me here, because there's just so much to talk about in politics in the world today. If you didn't win a book, you can get one. Or you could do this great thing and just help me get connected with people who hire speakers. If you would like a talk on body language, I also do really a lot with deception and the body language of lie detection. I get to study with the FBI, and whenever someone does something crazy on TV, the reporters usually call me to find out what's on their mind. So with that, I am going to turn it back over to Camille, and I'll be on here if you have questions, or you can always email me. This stuff's important. It can really change your ROI in your bottom line, and so I want to help you get good at that. I'm sending it back to you, Camille.
Okay, thank you so much, Traci. This is a great webcast, very engaging, and so much fun to be a part of it. And thank you for sharing with us again today, Traci. After this webinar concludes, you will be directed to a short survey, and if you could fill that out, it would be great for us to get some feedback. It's just 5 questions, just asking how the webcast ran. For those of you watching live today, the CMP credit was approved for CMP IS Domain F, Stakeholder Management. We will email your certificate of attendance tomorrow evening. Again, if you're watching this webinar on demand, please email me for your certificate. It will not come automatically. And if you have any questions, you can email me at my email address. I will type it in right now. If you have any follow-up questions, and we hope everyone will join us again on September 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another informative session with Connect speaker Brian Avery, when he discusses safety and security at events. Thanks for tuning. I'll go ahead and type in her email again. Thank you, Audrey. You beat me to it. Again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and everyone have a great day.